Today, we'll take a look at how we incorporate our Japanese maples into all of our landscapes in our garden. Now, you may have seen my video where I do show our entire collection and give brief overviews of the trees. So now we'll take a little closer look and show you how we have them on display in the garden and also in the container medium. This garden gets a fair bit of afternoon sun. So here we've got the autumn moon, again, which is ideal in a sunny location, just like the traditional full moon, with the exception that this can handle the sun without any issues. Over to my right, on the other side of the yew hedge, we've got the bonfire, still in its color changing period right now. It will eventually turn to a green tone with bronze tips. And behind me is the red dragon that you saw in the opening segment. Now we have the three of these maples interspersed with a yew hedge, a couple of azaleas. We've got some ornamental grasses, and then we've got a border of lavender. So it makes for a very, very colorful display. And these are all Japanese maples that are medium to slow growers, so nothing becomes overbearing in this display garden here. And it makes a beautiful color contrast as well. Here we have our pond area. Now, it's somewhat protected with all the greenery, shrubs, the rhododendrons, the large descending cedar hedge, but we've also got some Japanese maples. Now, right in front of me is the Osakazuki. Again, full sun, medium grower, really is a standout tree on its own. On the other side of the Osakazuki, we've got a weeping red dragon. And behind me, we've got a weeping crimson queen. Now you'll notice the color textures. Crimson queen is definitely a darker foliage than the red dragon. The weeping specimens really lend themselves nicely to any pond application, as you get the outward and down growth habit that can come right over the pond. It does add shade to the water as well. Our pond just has a few frogs and a few salamanders, as any attempt we've made with fish have been eaten by the local blue herons that tend to drop in for a snack whenever they spot a fish. Now here we've got a smaller garden display with just a single Japanese maple. Of course, it's the Shiryu. It's one of our favorites. Beautiful color tones, beautiful fall colors. And surrounding it, of course, we've got a few bulbs that are up. We've got some boxwood hedging that we've planted and separated as small bulbs. We've got some ornamental grasses coming up. In the background, we've got some hostas. And of course, against the back of the shed, we've got our resident bird townhouse that generally fills up this time of year. There's still a couple of vacancies, but they'll be filled in no time, I'm sure. Now we're into the back half of the garden, which is not as manicured as the middle garden. Now our property is 0.7 of an acre, so in actual dimensions, if we're using the imperial numbers, we'd have 95 feet wide by 300 feet deep. Metric, of course, would be 25 meters wide and 91 meters deep. So directly behind me is one of our oldest Japanese maples. It's the Bloodgood. You may have seen the video that I did the big pruning last year. Right beside it is the Benikawa. Now it's the dwarf version of the Sangukaku, or commonly known as the coral bark. Same growth habits, same colorations. And then directly behind these trees, you see a Canadian maple. And of course, it's a monster tree. It's about 4 times the height of this bloodgood. So it really shows the contrast, even though this Japanese maple looks large, it pales in comparison to the Canadian maple. Now getting to the very back of the property, we've got several large poplar trees which really make this area somewhat shaded all day long, with the exception of a few hours in the late afternoon. So this is the Kasagiyama. Again, it's a very unusual cultivator. This one is very old. We've had it field grown its entire life. It's about 8 feet in height, or 2.5 meters. Beautiful, beautiful peach green tones. It really offsets the green background, and it does make for a nice standalone tree. And another large specimen, this is the Fireglow. Pretty much identical in growth habit to the bloodgood, although the red tone of the leaf is somewhat brighter than the dark red of the bloodgood. Now, this tree was severely damaged a few winters ago with an ice storm, and we lost a huge part of the tree. So we've cut it back and we've tried to reshape it, and it's coming along fairly nicely now. Again, full sun, full shade, it doesn't matter. Great specimen as a standalone tree in your garden if you've got the space. The butterfly Japanese maple always is a nice addition in a green landscape, as you get the soft white cream colored leaves that really accent nicely in the background. We've got a couple of japonicums and a couple of fir shrubs, a couple of azaleas. It is a medium grower, so give yourself room if you want to put this into the garden. And again, this is well over 50 years old, so you've got a height of about 12 feet, or just under 4 meters. So it's very manageable as well. Here we have the Orange Dream. The lime yellow foliage on this tree will last you through the entire summer, and then you'll get some crimson yellow fall tones. It's a medium upright grower. This one is very old as well. We've kept it at a height of about 5.5 feet, well under 2 meters. Now, it enhances any greenery in a landscape due to that unique coloration. The most important thing with this tree, of course, is to limit any direct sunlight other than an hour or 2 of early morning sun. If you're getting more than that, it will damage the leaves, and it can look rather unsightly for the balance of the season, of course, until the following spring again when the new buds open. So if you've got a shaded spot in the garden and you want a very unique, bright, cheerful looking tree, Orange Dream is a great choice. In this landscape display here, we've got 2 Japanese maples. We've got the Shaina, and directly behind it is the full moon. Now, they're sitting amongst a bed of ground cover with some cedar hedging in the background. Now, this is a very compact garden. And of course, the Shaina is one of the slowest growers in the Japanese maple family. This one is extremely old. Right behind it, the full moon. Now, this tree in particular, make sure you've got full shaded location, north side. You don't want any sun on the tree. That way you'll maintain that beautiful lime green foliage the entire summer. The Shady, on the other hand, full sun or shade, it can tolerate the heat just fine. Now here we have the container-grown Fireglow. Now, one of the reasons I'd like to show this tree is because I did a root pruning video a couple of years ago, which some of you may have seen. You can see the tree is thriving, it's doing fantastic 2 years later after the root pruning. Now in this landscape feature, we just have a boxwood hedge encompassing the container. Makes for a very nice contrast with the greens and the red foliage of the tree. Now, of course, here's the cereus, container grown. We do have a couple of them in containers as well as in the garden. This always makes a beautiful display. We have it on the edge of our veranda along with some potted boxwoods. Beautiful coloration, spring, summer, and fall. Now this year we decided to create a Japanese maple display in our courtyard. So we've removed several of the container shrubs and replaced them all with Japanese maples. Now, right here, of course, is the Pixie, dwarf upright, beautiful, beautiful container specimen, very, very nice, even in a small landscape situation. Right in front of me is just a seedling bloodgood. Of course, here's the viridis. Again, it's a weeping variety. This one's just been staked a little higher when it was young to give it that extra height. Of course, right here we've got the coral bark or the sangukaku. Behind it, another seedling in a container. And over on the far side, we've got the crimson queen. So this whole display adds a lot of color and very nice display of different types of trees and their growth characteristics, and of course a couple of smaller pots to add a bit of greenery. I'll just shift the camera over to the other side of the courtyard now so you can see what we've got there. So of course this is where we generally have our morning coffee, as long as it's not raining. Now right here, another dissectum. This is the heartbeat Japanese maple. Interesting coloration on the leaf as you have the green tones with the nice red tips as the new foliage comes out. Right behind it here, this is a very unique cultivar. It is called the Marion Japanese maple. Now, years ago, I went to a nursery in Boskop, Holland. Dick Vandermaat, fantastic Japanese maple grower. This particular specimen he named after his wife, and it is recognized by the Acer Palmatum Society. Now, this one's over 20 years old, and what we've come to see with this tree is it has a lot of the characteristics of the typical bloodgood, but in a much smaller form. This one might be hard to find in North America, as I've never seen one other than what we have here. Now right behind me again is another cereus in a container. This one is just recovering from major surgery, as we dug this out of the ground last fall, put it into a container, so it's just rejuvenating. Of course, right behind me here, we've got another Zakazuki. You'll notice the really, really vivid greens in this particular specimen compared to the one you saw at our pond. The reason for that is this tree gets virtually no sunlight, so you will see much more presence of the deeper green tones. And then, of course, right here beside me is another viridis, weeping dissectum. So even in a small area, you can have quite a large display of Japanese maples. Treat them like patio furniture, just move them around, slide them around. We've also got a larger table if we have a dinner party for 6 people. Not a problem. We'll just reconfigure things and set up the dining area. Hopefully this video has given you some ideas when it comes to landscaping and incorporating your Japanese maples, whether you're growing them in the garden or in the container medium. Also, we have many videos encompassing all aspects of Japanese maple care, from grafting to extensive pruning videos, root pruning, watering, the type of specific soil mix we create and use for all our container specimens, also the type of fertilizer we use, and in-depth descriptions of many of the cultivars. Thanks again so much for watching.